Hi there. It's August the 6th and we're continuing our progress through Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, and we're reading from chapter 2 and verse 6 and we're going through to chapter 3 and verse 4. We saw that the wisdom of God is not like the wisdom of men. The wisdom of men, in Greek Sophia, is a collection of sayings, a collection of knowledge, but the wisdom of God is something that is far deeper, far more applied, far more lived out, and is expressed particularly through the death and the resurrection of Jesus, which to the Jews has seemed a scandal and to the Greeks has seemed foolishness. Paul says this wisdom is spoken to the mature, to those who are spiritual. Now, the spirit for Paul is something very important. The spirit is that part of a person that connects with God. It connects with the Spirit of God, who knows who God is because the Spirit of God goes into and explores the nature and the person of God. Now, this is very important because Paul sets this against the soulish person or the psychical person, the person who's living at a merely human level, rather like a computer that's been disconnected from the World Wide Web, just left to itself, has intelligence, has something going on within it, but is missing something bigger than itself. Paul says actually the Spirit of God searches the things of God, and he reveals by connecting with our spirits who God really is. It says that if the people who ruled this world, if the powers that ruled this world had known about this reality, about this deep wisdom of God, they would never have crucified the Lord of glory. They would never have crucified Messiah Jesus, because that unleashed the whole plan and purpose of God, the whole spiritual plan of God to bring redemption into the world. But because they were living and thinking on a merely human level, as N.T. Wright calls it, they've completely missed the wisdom of God. But we have to be discerning these things and understanding these things from a spiritual point of view, what the Greek calls pneumatikos, a point of view that is linked to, connected with this outer reality, this reality beyond us in the spirit. However, at the beginning of chapter 3, Paul says to the Corinthians they're not living like that. In fact, they're not even living at a soulish level. They're living what he calls a fleshly level, a level that is really all about the physical and the desires, the wants of their bodies. In Greek, this is the sarkikos person, the person who lives from their sarx, from their flesh, from their body. And he's saying that he wanted to give them something stronger. He wanted to reveal something more of this mystery of God, but they're actually living as though they were still babies, as though spiritually they had not really learned anything. And that is demonstrated through their quarrelling, through their battles, through their cliques, through all the things that Paul has taken up with them in the first chapter, the way that they are following people. We really want to be pursuing God on a spiritual level, and by spirit we don't just mean the thing that's going on within us that could connect to God, but spirituality for us is about that vital connection with the Spirit of God, without whom we cannot know God. And so as we pursue him, we want to be living at that connected level of reality, that spirit-to-spirit connection, which Paul says is so important to understand this wisdom of God that is revealed through the death and the resurrection of Jesus. Let's seek to live in that spiritual reality, in that wisdom of God today. Have a very good August the 6th.